I know what you're thinking. Please, not another post about Joanne's closing. And this is not that. Hi, I'm Tessa from Love Notions, and today I'm going to be tackling a topic that has been requested for years, over and over and over again. And in light of recent events, I think it's a great time to go over it. So stick around and let's talk about how to shop for fabric online. And I have a huge collection of resources that you're going to want to get your hands on. With the closure of a certain brick and mortar shop, we've had trouble finding the resources that we need as a sewing community, and there's been lots of discussions about that. But as a garment sewist, this is not a new problem. This is an issue that we've been having for years and years and years. Right now, and for the last long while, fabric shopping in stores has not been easy. There's been lots of roadblocks along the way. And as garment sewists and as online digital pattern company, we have, I think, navigated that issue pretty well. And we have a process that I think is pretty reliable and has served us well. And I'd like to share it with you today. For many of you, shopping for fabric in person is the only way that you can imagine doing things. And I get that. What are you going to do if you cannot touch and feel the fabric? Like, how are you going to make sure it's right for your project? I completely understand that concern. And that's why we made this resource, because it can feel like such a huge risk to spend so much time looking for fabric, make a huge big list, have all these projects in mind, and then you get this package and it is nothing like what you thought it was going to be. There's a risk that comes with buying online no matter what. And I can't prevent that, but I can help you to anticipate more accurately what you're going to be getting and make smart decisions. So let me show you our new printable resource that we have to help you tackle this problem. Okay, before we go any further, I want to just call out this resource, this printable resource that's linked down below. So just click on the link down below, and it's got several pages of information that I think would be helpful for any person who is making a transition or thinking about making a transition from being a primarily analog kind of person to being a little bit more on the digital side of things when it comes to sewing. And inside this guide, you are not only, there's not only like a free printable guide of our highly recommended fabric shops and even more smaller fabric shops that we have vetted that we think are great for garment sewists, but we also have more about the process of fabric shopping. How to shop for fabric online, where to shop for fabric online, and then understanding more about the fabric and seeing kind of examples of things that can be sewn with different kinds of bases. Because all of that, if you're not touching and feeling it, it all kind of feels like a mystery. So we have in this resource fabric shops and fabric shopping, but we also have some information on the digital route. So using digital patterns as well as the different formats that our patterns offer if you choose to go a digital route. So print at home patterns, large format patterns, and even some really valuable information on setting up a projector. So if you're a primarily analog kind of person and you're thinking about taking the dip into being a little bit more of a digital person, this printable resource might be handy for you as you start that journey. And this is all free. It's linked below. And the reason why we created this initially was because we went to Sew Expo this year, which was so fun. It was so cool to meet so many of you in person. And in fact, I think probably some of the people who are watching this video right now came up and said hi to us at Sew Expo. And if that was you, come and say hi in the comments, because yeah, sewing sometimes can be like a lonely, isolated activity, but there's tons of people that are there with you if they're not in person with you, then they're kind of with you in spirit. So hi, all of my Sew Expo friends. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So now that you have that resource in hand, you've clicked on the link below and you have gotten that free printable guide, let's use it to make some great choices when it comes to fabric shopping. In the next part of this video, I'm gonna take you with me as I shop at a few of my personal favorite fabric shops online, and it kind of go through with you my approach. What am I looking for? How do I do it? What am I disqualifying? What am I including? What's my list of projects? So you kind of get to have like a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what's happening at Love Notions, me thinking ahead to what's coming along in our pattern list, some of the Future Fridays that we're going to be having coming up, and see how I narrow down my choices and make good decisions when it comes to shopping for fabric online. So hopefully seeing that process in action will kind of like jog some thoughts and give you some confidence as you start to go out on your own online fabric shopping journey. Because just because one fabric shop closes doesn't mean that we have to stop sewing, right? Step one in my process is to create my list of projects. What am I going to be shopping for? What do I need to be looking for? What's on my to sew agenda? And one of the ways that I do that is by creating an idea board or a list, or just have some kind of running Pinterest board or something that I can kind of collect my ideas on. Because when you're shopping for fabric online, you definitely want to batch it. You don't want to buy one thing at a time because it kind of wastes shipping or time. So I try to batch my projects. So for me right now, this is my fabric shopping idea board. I'm using an app called Canva, and Canva is a really fun place to just create projects, and they've got tons of different like templates and stuff, and it's a free resource. You can get a paid version, but Canva is just a great place for me to collect my ideas. So I started with this idea board, and all I've done is put together some like ideas and notes and patterns that I am planning to sew, that I want to be on my docket in the coming couple of weeks or months. One of the first ones is the Geneva pullover and jacket. This is a new pattern that Love Notions is coming out with in really soon. It's the next pattern that's going to be releasing. And what's helpful for me sometimes is to collect some pictures of like ready to wear inspo. So I used to wear a Columbia jacket constantly, and it doesn't fit me anymore, and it's all worn out and the zipper broke and it's kind of terrible. I ordered a couple things from Patagonia and I just did not like the fit of them. They like gathered too much at the bottom and it was uncomfortable, but I liked the design and style and it felt cool. So I feel like the new Geneva jacket is gonna be great for that. And I wanna create a spring jacket. I want it to be a zip up. I want it to have those princess seams. And I want it to kind of replicate that Columbia or Patagonia feel and have the same utility. One of the questions that I have in my head as I'm planning my projects here is, do I want this pattern, do I want it to have coordinates? So this is actually Chloe in one of the tester versions. Look how cool her fabric is here. She actually used the same fabric, but just used the reverse side for the princess seam inset part right here. And I think that was genius. So maybe I want to look for some kind of fabric that has either like it has coordinate options, or if there's a way to make, you know how like these Patagonia pullovers have coordinates of some kind. I want to look for possibilities there. I definitely want to make this zip area, and I definitely want to do the welt pockets, though it does have a zipper pocket, so I'm not sure, but look for this pattern coming out soon. But this is what's on my list right now, is finding fabric for this style of jacket. Another thing on my list here is I know that on Future Fridays coming up in the next few months, we're gonna have lots of opportunities for lightweight wovens for tops and skirts. Here are just a few of the options that are going to be coming up sometime soon. This is one of my absolute favorite arias. This is in a Liberty lawn, and I don't think I'm going to spend that much on fabric this time, but I want to find a really nice quality woven lightweight fabric that can be used for, and then can take the structure of a design like Aria or like Caprice or Tinley. The other thing my daughter has requested is a skirt that's just like this. Let me see if I can zoom in on this for you. She wants to have a flowy skirt that has these kind of design lines that Caprice does. And I think I'm going to be able to find, I think they call it like a ditzy, like a small scale floral. And it needs to be lightweight, and I need to get a lot of it for Amelia's skirt because she has requested this so often. We cannot find anything in store that is what we're looking for. And the other thing that I'm going to be shopping for is some swim fabric, because I do know that Love Notions is planning to release a girls version of the Clearwater Essentials pattern, which is a athletic dress or a swim dress, along with all of the separates like shorts, briefs, a tankini top, and with a built-in bra and a separate bikini top or sports bra kind of. So this is what I sewed last year, and I loved, I shopped at Surge for the fabric, but I know that Raspberry Creek has really good swim fabric too. And I know they have tons of coordinates. And I think that since we're sewing for the new swim pattern for girls, I think I'm gonna look for some of their new kids swim fabric. So I have some thoughts on where I'm gonna go. And I'm pretty sure that I want to go to Alyssa May Designs to find some lightweight woven fabric for those pieces like Aria, Caprice, Tinley. I want some really flowy, pretty things, and their prices are like incredible for lightweight wovens. And then lastly, like I said, I think I'm going to look at Raspberry Creek for some swim, because I know they have really, really good prices on swim, and they have really cute designs that'll be great for both adults and for kids. So that's my process. While I have you here on the preliminary search part of things, I also wanted to make a note that the fabric shops that I'm looking at today are based in the United States. But one of the best places that you can go to shop for fabric if you are outside of the United States, or even if you're inside the United States, but if you're like in Europe or something, especially UK, is Minerva. We've worked with Minerva before. They do a really good job of trying to make sure that they have a huge variety of fabric. And one of the things that I love that they do is that they show the fabric on people. They have a huge collection of ambassadors, and so they have connected, like if you go onto their main part, they have connected on sort of like a social media app. They have like all of these people who like essentially blog for them and use this platform to show off their makes. So there's just like tons of real people. And I think if you're searching for a starting place and you don't want to go right to like regular social media like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, I would highly suggest looking at Minerva, because you can see that particular kind of base and then see what it was sewn into and how it lays on the person. So this is a great place to go for like inspiration for specifically for the type of fabric. So see how like they have like the fabric linked here that was exactly used for the final product. And I just think that's such a smart idea and a great place to go for both people who live outside of the United States and are looking for fabric sources, but also for people who just want some inspiration and just to see how things sewed up. That's hugely helpful. So my next step in my process of shopping for fabric is almost always to check out the social media pages of the places that I'm shopping at. This could really happen anytime in the process, but one of the places I'm gonna be shopping today is at Surge, and I just kind of like to get like a look around and see what's going on there. Maybe give them a little boost and some hearts if I can, just to spread the love. One of the things I am really interested in grabbing is just from some staples, and fabric like this would be great for some t-shirts, like for the classic tee, which you can get the free pattern for. This is ideal for that. So I just am looking to see what's going on, and see if they've got anything special that's come out recently. I can see they've got some really cute new Fabulism collections, and this might make some cool structured tops, like for that aria button up. I think these would be really fun to play with. And I also am going to take a look over at Raspberry Creek's selection. And again, these are just like small businesses that are just trying to share what is going on in their place. And so they've got kind of a mix of just everyday life kind of stuff, as well as like fabric inspiration. I'm already seeing their swim ready to go here, and swim coordinates at that. I love reels like these where they say like what fabric, like this. I love these kind of reels because they show you like in person. I want to see in person what the fabric looks like as closely as I can without being there. So I love seeing these compilation things. So I know they have tons of swim fabric that's going to be really fun for me. I'm already seeing some pieces inside of this reel that'll be great. So I like to just do a little social search, but there's some fabric shops that don't really have a presence on socials. And so one of the things I like to do is go over to our pattern group, the Love Notions pattern support group, and I like to go and just do a research on my pattern. So all I do is just click the little magnifying glass, and then so what I like to do is type in the pattern name into our search and just go through and see what people have been making, what's going on with this, these ideas. Like, oh my goodness, look at this mash of caprice along with tempo. That's so fun. I'm seeing some twirls, seeing the pattern in action. And even though all of the fabric companies don't have a social media presence, I can still get kind of like a taste of what this could look like for me, and then start to use this as a way to ideate and think about some of the new things, like, oh, like what a fun floral. I can know that I can find a lot of these things on the website that I'm looking for. So if you haven't joined the Facebook pattern support group, just as like a lurker, you really should. Before we get too far in, I wanted to make sure that you knew about the Love Notions website. One of the things that you can find on here is info about our fabric shops, and a lot of the resources that I talked about today will also be housed here, as well as in the description box on YouTube. But another thing that we did recently, and I know people have controversial feelings about this, or this is a controversial device here, but we have Sophie, SEWFPHIE. Sophie is our sewing assistant on the Love Notions website. And what's kind of cool is that you can click on Sophie and get some help with different projects, especially if you want to just like a quick list of like the fabric requirements for something. Like, let's just say I wanted to ask about swim. I'm just gonna ask here to tell me more about the clear water swim collection. Let's see what Sophie can tell us as we start our fabric search. So she's gonna tell us about what the bundle includes, give some advice on the sizing and the adjustments that are included, the pattern formats. She's even gonna tell about the reviews from the customers, and then she'll give you the link to the product. So I think that's like a really useful way to start kind of your fabric search. But let's see if she can tell us anything about fabric. So I asked what fabric is recommended for Clearwater and how much. So she's gonna give some info on all of the types of swim related things that we're gonna need. So about the lining or power mesh, the athletic wear options, and she's even giving some fabric shops to recommend. She has some limitations because she says she doesn't know the exact yardage, but I'll show you where to find that in just a second. But she's even giving some tips for purchasing the pattern and seeing all of those extras, making sure you get coordinates, links for fabric options. So if I know people don't love AI, but this is a pretty cool little extra that's available here on the Love Notions website. If you haven't purchased a pattern yet, but are just interested in finding out what the fabric requirements are, so here's the Clearwater Summer Essentials pattern. This is the line drawing on the website, as you can see. And then if you scroll down on your phone or on your desktop, there's a tab right here that says fabric requirements. And this is the actual page from the website or from the actual tutorial. So for a dress, we're gonna need 1 7/8 yards and then a 1/2 yard for lining. So I'll probably get like a yard of lining and then 2 yards of swim or athletic fabric for the dress. So going through, I think I might just copy this image and then save it over here so that I have this kind of like all in one place. I think that would be the best use of my time. Before we go any further, I wanted to elaborate on my fabric shopping process. It's kind of funny to take something that's so like natural to me at this point anyway, and break it down for someone who might not be so familiar with it, but this is what I do. So this is my fabric shopping process. And I just put it here on this idea board for my project planning. So first I've narrowed down my projects and kind of made a shopping list. So I have a couple of projects that I'm shopping for, one specifically, a couple generally, and a couple very, very general, like just bases basically. So those are the things I'm looking for. My next step is going to be to gather ideas, which we kind of talked about already, like looking on socials, looking at ready to wear and seeing what's available and getting lots of ideas from that. This often happens when I'm like out in the store. Like if I'm just like walking through Target, I'm like, I can make that, I can make that, I can make that. And sometimes I'll take a picture and add it to like my Pinterest board, and I'll use that as a way to shop for fabric in the future to match those pattern ideas up with something that I see available. And then I'm just open up a bunch of tabs. I open up the all of the fabric places that I'm listing today and see what's going on. And then I'm ready to dive in to the listings. Okay, also if you look up here, these are all of the fabric shops that I have been looking through to kind of narrow down my choices. There's tons, and I started out by looking at our list of fabric shops here. So make sure that you take out that list and so you can follow along with me and kind of see what I'm looking for in terms of a fabric shop. Before we go much further, let's talk about what I mean when I say I want to dive into the listing. I'm not just looking at the picture on the page, even though, you know, some people do that and that might work out well for them. But if I'm just looking at any fabric on a page, that doesn't tell me enough to decide if it's going to be right for the project that I have in mind. So I'm going to be looking at, is this fabric knit or woven? And you'll usually be able to tell that information right in their categories. Most fabric companies, when you go onto their website, they have things differentiated by stretch, non-stretch, knit, or woven. So that'll be an easy way, like flow chart way to go. They also are going to list things off by the base, and that's the info that is inside of like the main title of the fabric. So I'm going to read that carefully. Then if you go a little further into a listing, so let's like go into one of these right here. So in the Ponte section, so this is a stretch fabric, it's a knit, and this is if I'm looking at the title of the fabric, this is a navy distressed plaid premium Ponte print, okay? So This is a Ponte type of fabric, but again, it's still not quite enough. And just looking at the pictures is not quite enough to give me everything that I want to know about the fabric. So that's why you have to come down to the description box. This is where all the important stuff is. You have to read this and know what you're reading when you read it. So some fabric companies do not really elaborate on stuff in here, but the companies that I really like do a great job of giving lots of detail in this section so that you can get closer to being able to visualize the fabric and understand it. It's as close to feeling as you're gonna get with this. Although some pattern companies like Minerva, other fabric companies will do like videos where they show you like drape in action and stuff. So this, for the most part, is where you're gonna get most of the goodies. I'm gonna be looking for, if I'm diving in, I'm looking for the weight of the fabric, and that's often marked by GSM. I think it's like grams per square meter or something like that. But the lower the number, the lighter weight the fabric is. Higher the number, higher weight the fabric is. And after a while, you'll get to understand what is a lower weight, lighter weight fabric and what's a heavier weight based on those numbers. I'm not an expert in that, but it's helpful. The other numbers or descriptions that are inside of the listings are the stretch percentage. So if we go over to Clearwater, for example, I'm kind of glad I have this all in one place here. Let's go over to Clearwater and let's take a look at the fabric recommendation spot in the pattern. And it says light to medium weight knit fabrics with at least 40% four-way stretch. So stretch percentage is a really important calculation when it comes to the fit of different garments. This is going to be a garment that's going to need a great recovery if it's going to be used to swim. And you can get a lot of those pieces of information in the fabric recommendations section. So I need to find, for my swim at least, I'm going to need to find something that stretches up to 40% more than its original presentation 4 ways. So both horizontally and vertically. And then we've got some descriptions. Now, I'm gonna know that I'm not gonna probably want to use like, a really lightweight polyrayon spandex for if I'm gonna plan to take this into the pool, right? So we have to use a little bit of just like a common sense about things. We're not gonna want like a real lightweight, slippery, thin fabric if we want to hold up in like athletic stuff. So you have to kind of take that stuff into consideration as well as you're shopping and finding what you want. So this is the part that's really important to go back and look at the description of everything to make sure that what we've got is right. So like this fabric, we've got the content information. We can see what it's made out of. We can see what kind of fabric it is. It's a double knit. Ponte is a double knit kind of fabric. And its weight is 320 GSM. That's pretty heavy. Like there's some things that are like 60 GSM. We've got our width information, which is not as important to me personally, but one problem we've got here, and why it's obviously not going to be a good fit for swim fabric, is because it's only got 25% stretch. It is both horizontal and vertical stretch, so it's a 4-way stretch piece, but it's not 40%, it's not going to work for what we knew already, right? Ponte wasn't going to work very well for that pattern. So that's dissecting a description and understanding if it's going to work great for our project. So let's come back over to our list here of the next thing on diving into the listing, so we've looked at, is the piece a knit or woven? What's the base? Like, what's the title description of the fabric? Is it ponte? Is it sweater knit? Is it jersey? Is it interlock? Is it ITY, double brush poly? Like, those are the more of the descriptions. And then we have talked about the weight and we talked about the stretch. And then the other part that I think is important to look at is look at what the fabric company suggests. They almost always give a suggestion in the description for what this could be used for. So at Surge, this says use this fabric to create pants, blazers, skirts, dresses, and more. So that and more section, there's a lot more that this could be, right? I could see this being a cute jacket if it had the right, just the rest of the description, content, and stretch and weight and all that stuff. But I know it's not gonna work for swim, right? One of the other terms I wanted to turn you on to here is the idea of dead stock. So what this means is a fabric that was used by a designer somewhere and they had this left over. And so smaller fabric companies are able to buy this fabric up and resell it to people. So it's stuff that has been made into ready to wear somewhere. And instead of this fabric going into a landfill because it's not useful for the original designer, fabric companies can come in and get it. I love doing dead stock purchases. I found some really unique, interesting things. I think this black Italian textured nylon spandex dead stock is gonna be great for my jacket, my zip up jacket. I like that it's got texture to it. I was wanting fleece originally, but as we go into spring, I don't think I want fleece. I think I want it to be more of like a Lululemon type of jacket. So I think I'm gonna get this. Now, another thing to note is how much fabric to get. As I was going through the purchasing process, I was thinking, actually we need to talk about how much yardage to buy at a time, right? Like, how do I know? Well, that's part of the reason why it's usually a good idea to kind of have like your idea of, what you're going to be shopping for before you start shopping. It's kind of like going to the grocery store on an empty stomach. You're just going to get everything and then come home and be like, what am I going to eat? That's just a word of warning there. But when I'm shopping and I see something I like, how do I know how much to get? And this, I just kind of calculated out, like, what do I on average do? This is how much yardage I typically get for my projects. If I plan to sew a full length dress, one that maybe has like a longer skirt, maybe it's like floor length or ankle length, maybe it's gonna have gathers or tiers, I'm gonna try to go with 3+ yards of especially if it's like a drapey, like a thinner, lightweight woven fabric. A full length dress, especially if it has long sleeves, I'm probably gonna go with 3+ yards. If I'm gonna do a hooded piece, or I'm gonna be sewing something that's like more of like an outer layer, I'm gonna try to go for 2.5 yards. Many fabric shops allow you to buy by the half yard. Some are only by the yard, but you just need to pay attention in that description on how they sell each of the cuts of fabric. For bottoms, just like regular pants, jeans or leggings or sweatpants, I'll probably do 2 yards. Sometimes I can get away with 1 if the cut lines, like the front and back pieces, are laid out in a specific way, but usually I'm gonna need 2 yards total. For just like a regular shirt, like maybe a dressier blouse, I'm probably gonna use 2 yards depending on how the sleeves are. And if I'm just doing like a regular tee, like a basic tee, I typically need 1.5 yards. And if I'm gonna do swim, especially swim separates, this is what I usually do. 1 yard each of several coordinates, because I wanna make lots of pieces usually. And with swim, fabric goes so far. So I know when I make my girl swimsuits this year, I'm gonna wanna get like probably at least 3 yards of a collection of coordinates, and then maybe another 2 yards of fabric to make that athletic dress all out of one kind of piece. But if I'm going to do coordinates with swim, I'm going to probably get 1 yard each. In some cases, if I only want to use that particular colorway like one time, or maybe just for like an inset piece or something, I could do a 1/2 yard. But I'll probably end up getting 1 yard each of several, maybe 3 different coordinates. I hope that's helpful. Okay, here's what I'm going to end up getting from Serge. I found this black Cupro double knit techno that I think I've sewn with it before, and I think it might make a really, really nice Geneva zip up. I've sewn with it before to make a dress, the Aurora dress, and I think it's going to be similar in feel and look to the Spanx type of fabric. It's kind of like a scuba fabric. I also got this Florence stretch woven. I've sewn with this before as well. I'm trying out new colors for me, so I'll let you know how this works. And this is that Italian textured nylon spandex. And then I also got this tomato Cupra slub jersey that'll be great for just a tee. Okay, the next place I like to shop is Alyssa May, and especially for the light, airy kind of wovens that I wanted for like Tinley, for the skirt. I'm gonna need a lot of fabric for something like that, so I'd like to shop at a place where I can get it a little bit less expensively. So I'm going to be shopping over at Alyssa May Design. Their shop is very small, very curated, really romantic and pretty, and this is what's in my cart right now. So I'm gonna have to decide how much to get of each. So I have this super cute little ditzy print. All of her stuff is sold by the 1/2 yard, so I'm going to need to make sure that I put in my quantity. So if I want 3 yards, I need to put in a quantity of 6. Most of the stuff here is polyester. There's not a ton of natural fibers, and most of it is just like woven, no stretch, lightweight fabric. So this is where I go to shop for like dresses. So I'm gonna put in, I think 6 of these to make my daughter that caprice skirt. I think this will be perfect for that. So I'm just looking at all of the details. This is a poly spandex, light to medium weight, so 110 GSM, so it's on the lighter side. It's a stretch chiffon, and I think it'll be pretty for like a tiered skirt. So we also have a rayon crepe. So this is kind of like a textured fabric. I think that'll be kind of fun to sew with. I don't know exactly what I'll make out of that. Maybe like a Tinley, maybe like a Tinley set. Let's get some of that. And then this dark teal, I really like this dark teal. I think that color is so cool. This is 100% rayon. Lightweight, no stretch. And it's a challis. I like a challis. The hand on a challis is really nice to feel. Pretty inexpensive for how much fabric that is. So it's only $80 right now before shipping. So that's pretty good. Next, I'm coming over to Raspberry Creek. They do their own in-house printing. So they have their club apparel fabric, and then they also have just regular apparel fabric. And so they print actually even on their swim fabric too. It's pretty cool. So I'm gonna look at their swim stuff. And I saw a bunch of these already online. So I think I'll be able to find lots of options here, like matching this cute little ditzy blue and white with the blue and white stripe here. Adorable. I did blue and white last year though, so I think I want to try something different for this year, something that my girls will really like. I feel like they would love this checkerboard. I feel like that's pretty trendy for them right now. And my youngest daughter, loves anything orange, so this would make a really cute swimsuit for her. All right, here's my swim shopping cart at Raspberry Creek. I am getting a teal combo here. I'm gonna do mix and match tankini tops with bottoms of shorts or briefs. And then I'm doing a swim piece for my youngest daughter in this little orange fabric because she loves oranges. So that's my process. I hope seeing me in action as I shop has given you just a little bit more information to help you make this transition. I hope that this free printable resource helps you get started on using some of your digital tools, and that you feel confident to go out and continue sewing even if all of the resources that you used to have are not there. And honestly, like, the online fabric shopping world is huge. It's way bigger than any one store can contain. And I'm sure many people don't feel like this right now, but like maybe there'll be some perks for this. Maybe there'll be some like hidden good things that come from this. And I just know that someone's not going away, you know? And of course, I would love for there to be a resource where you could touch and feel, see something online maybe, and like touch and feel it before you make that commitment and that risk of buying it. And it makes me think of like watching Star Trek with my dad when I was little, and I would see that that like replicator thing where they would like push a button and like the food would like magically appear, and I would see like the sundae being made, like the ice cream sundae being made, and be like, oh my goodness, what if we could just push a button and get whatever we wanted? And we're not there yet, but maybe we will be someday. If you found this resource helpful, can you please do me a favor and leave a note in the comments? It would mean the world to us so that we know if we're like on the right track with what sewists need today. Because really all we want is for garment sewists to be feeling like they have the tools that they need to succeed. So leave me a comment below, and also tell me, what are you working on right now? What's in your lineup? Are you sewing for spring? What's on your docket? And then just let me know if you agree, disagree, if I missed something here in shopping for fabric online. What do you have still as questions about this process? I would love to tackle some of those and help you guys feel confident. I feel confident shopping online, and I hope that other people can too. Don't forget to grab that free printable resource down below, and always stay tuned with Love Notions. This week, the Feature Friday pattern, it was my personal favorite sew of last year. It is a pull-on jeans pattern. It's called Crescendo jeans. It has 4 leg styles. It has all the standard petite, tall rises and inseams, because those are different things. It has a full booty adjustment and a flat booty adjustment, and all of that is built into the pattern. So if you haven't gotten the Crescendo jeans yet, what are you waiting for? Because this is the time to get it. And if you're looking for a way to make it even more versatile, Chloe is on the blog today showing how to make a pull-on jean skirt from the Crescendo pattern. So it's got that fabulous waist, the fully functional pockets on the front and the back, but it's a really cute jean skirt. And it's not like that upcycled 70s style jean skirt where you still have like the crotch curve. This one is a sleek, beautiful one, and it's so easy to make this quick little transition. So take a look at the blog, make sure you take a look at their feature pattern, and take a look at this new little resource that we've got for you about shopping for fabrics online. I'm always here if you need some questions answered, and I am just sending you all of the wonderful sewing vibes so that you can have a sewing experience that is joyful and productive. Bye.